Hello, this is the second video related to this topic. In this one, we are going to create a continuous deployment pipeline generated by AZD. Again, we are not using anything installed in our local machines. We are using always Codespaces, and we are leveraging all the nice features of AZD. In my previous video, this was the last slide. So basically, now this is what we are going to do. What you need, a GitHub account now is not optional because we are going to use GitHub Actions, and the rest is the same as the previous video. Why are we doing this? In the previous video, we saw that how easy it is with using AZD to deploy a Streamlit web application to Azure. So basically, two commands and it will create infrastructure. It will deploy the application code. Then we also did a change in the code. And after that change, we leverage AZD deploy that just deploy the code, and we have the code deployed to the Azure service. Now what we want to do is want to have a continuous deployment pipeline in the form of GitHub Actions. What that means is that there will be something, let's call it like that, listening to your repository. The moment there is a change in the main, that will trigger this continuous deployment pipeline that will deploy whatever changes you have made to the code. Can be infrastructure, can be code. Let's go to the browser and see how it's done. Here we are in the template repository. We are going to use this as a template, so I will come here and click create a new repository. I will put it test AZD continuous deployment, test AZD continuous deployment. For now, I will put this as a private repository, and then I will click create repository. Okay, now we have here our own repository that is a copy of the template, and then I will start the Codespaces, and I will click here, and this will take some seconds to build. Okay, now after some minutes we can see that we have a Visual Studio Code here available for us in the browser, and here are the instructions how to init. So we can do exactly as it says here. Of course, we already have the code, but AZD is smart enough to ask if we want to replace something. So initializing, yes. I will choose keep my existing files unchanged because I just use the other as template. What will the environment call demo CD? And now the project has been initialized. The next step that we can do is do the AZD app that we also saw in the previous videos that will deploy the infrastructure and the code. Well, of course, it's telling me that I need to log in, so I can do that. Now that I am logged in, I can do the AZD app. And here I have the subscriptions that I have access to. So, and I can choose again Central or West Europe. If I can find it, Europe. West Europe, yes. And now it will start the deployment. Okay, so now it has deployed the application. We can see it from here. Copy this URL. You can control click also. And this was our simple Streamlit application. In previous video, we saw that we can just go to the source code, do the changes, whatever, and then just type AZD deploy, and that will deploy the code for us into the Azure service. But what we are trying to do is just to have a continuous deployment pipeline. That means that whenever someone change the code in the main branch, it will automatically trigger something, and that something will be a code deployment pipeline. And this pipeline will trigger if you change any of the files. So you can do changes to infrastructure, and you can do changes to the code, and it will still redeploy automatically, and you don't have to run the commands anymore. So that's how teams work in real life. For that, we just need to type AZD pipeline config, and now it starts the process of setting up the. Okay, now I managed to put my streaming video there on the top. So into login, yes, HTTPS, yes, login with a web browser. I just copy this. Now I'm authenticated in the other window, and now it's telling me that it's doing all the work that we don't have to do manually, but the AZD tool will do for us. So you can see that it's creating a service principal. Then it's doing setting all these variables, etc., etc. And now that all these changes has been done, it's asking us if we want to push these changes, and I will say yes. And now it has been pushed to our repo. So here in our repo, if we go to actions, we can see that there is a new workflow created. This is what the AZD command created, and we can do now trigger this workflow. We just click run workflow, and well, it will take some seconds. So now it's started. Well, not yet. It's in progress. So we can click here and see what it's doing. So basically, remember from the previous command, from the previous video, what was happening when you run AZD deploy and AZD up. Basically, now all this is run in the GitHub action. So here you can see that it's provisioned infrastructure and says there are no changes. So was pretty fast, and now it's deploying the application, which is basically running the AZD deploy. And now it says that was success, same URL, nothing has changed, and now we can see that it finished. Okay, last part, what we are going to do is to try the continuous deployment. Basically, we will simulate that someone is doing a code change, and when they merge that branch to main, it should trigger the GitHub action, and that should deploy the application. Okay, so we can go back to our code space here, and I will do, just to make sure that we are in sync, just not create branch, I wanted just to sync. Okay, everything looks good. So now I will create a new branch. I will call it feature 1. Now I have my feature 1 branch. I will go to the application and I will change the title to version 2.0, for example. Okay, save, and now I will commit updated to version 2.0. Okay. All right. So now in our repo, we can see that there is this new branch, and what will happen is now when I do the pull request and merge into main, it should automatically trigger the action. Let's see how it goes. Okay, create pull request. And merge pull request, confirm merge. And now it has been merged. So now if we go to actions, we can see that the merge of that request triggered the action. As you can see now, it's in progress. And now it's running the command. So, well, it's installing the AZD, then Node.js, login with Azure with federated credentials, no share secrets or that kind of thing. So that's really unique. Now it's there were no changes, so nothing to do with the infrastructure, and now it's doing the deployment of the code, which will take a little longer, I suppose. And now it says that it was a success, so we can now go and check the applications to see if the changes are now there in the application. So if I jump now to the URL of the applications, and we can see that the version 2.0 that I added is now deployed. So continuous deployment with just one command of AZD. Behind the scenes, it did other things that we didn't check, but you can check on your own when you do it. For example, if you go to actions, not here, sorry, secret and variables, actions, and here you can see that it has set all the variables that it needs. And again, there are no secrets or service principal secrets or keys or any type of that thing, because it's using federated authentication. All right, so what did we do? We used the AZD pipeline config to set up our pipeline. That was a GitHub Actions pipeline. And with just that simple command, AZD took care of everything, created the federated authentication, creating the environment variables, etc. So instead of having to read many documents and try to find out what to do, you just can use AZD pipeline config, and it will give you a very good start for your pipeline. If you need to edit your pipeline, of course you can do it. There is nothing in a black box. That's something that I have heard, that yeah, maybe I don't want to use AZD because I want to learn what's happening behind the scenes. AZD is not black box. It just create artifacts, in this case just some files in your repo, and those are standard files that you can edit, watch, modify to your needs. So give it a go to AZD, and if you have any question, just comment below the video. Thanks for watching. Until next time.